I don't know if you've ever noticed this. When you go to the doctor for a health checkup, what's the first thing he asks you to do? After getting weighed, which nobody likes. What does he ask you to do? Stick out your tongue. That's the first thing. Have you stopped to think about how weird that is? I mean, you've got aches in your body, and the first thing he wants to do is look in your mouth. I mean, that's not where I'm hurting. I'm hurting down here. Why are you looking up here? But you stop and think about this. The doctor can tell a lot about our physical health from looking in our mouths. That's Bristol in June. She had a fever of like 103, 104. It lasted a couple days, and then on a Sunday afternoon, it spiked to 105, and we thought, well, probably should take her to see somebody. So we take her to the ER, and she's laying on that bed, and Mom was there. Do you remember what the doctor said when she walked in? You don't. You will when I say this. The doctor said, open your mouth, and then before she even looked, she said, I don't even have to look. I can smell the strep. I can smell the strep, which is really nice. But I can smell it. I don't even have to look in your mouth. Stop and think about that. Strep throat that causes your body aches. All you have to do is look in the mouth and you can tell what's wrong with someone physically. I think there's a spiritual parallel as well. You look what's coming out of a mouth and you can tell the spiritual temperature of the person that you're engaging. Look at what Jesus says. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You can tell people by the label that you wear what is in your heart. Oh, I love Jesus. But then you go out and you speak worldly ways? No, what's in your heart is worldly stuff because that's what's coming out of your mouth. You see, this is the rudder of your spiritual ship. So it is telling everyone, without you telling them what you are, it is telling everyone what course you are on in your life, what course you are charting with your life, what words are you speaking. Let's talk about Dave Stokes. He's not here, so it's a great time to talk about him. I did clear this with him, but I was talking about this message. We met earlier this week, and I was bouncing some ideas off of him, and he brought this. I think he's preached about this before, his early years, Stokes, the early years, where it wasn't like Stokes, the later years. And what Dave told me was, and you might remember this, that when Dave was a child, when he was around his parents, by the way, can you tell Dave in both of those pictures? Anyway, freakishly tall. Anyway, Dave said that when he was a child and he was around his parents, he would use one kind of language. But then when he was around his friends, he would use other kinds of language. And now stop and think about this, because I did some thinking about that. He's not alone. There are a lot of people, a lot of kids that I see that when they're at school speak an entirely different way than when mom and dad are around. Well, brothers and sisters, you are children of God, are you not? You are children of your heavenly Father. And if your tongue is untamed and coarse, maybe you'd find it less untamed and coarse if you spent more time around who? Your heavenly Father. If that's the equation, we talk better when we're around our parents than when we're around our friends, and you find yourself talking in an untamed worldly way, maybe that would change if you spent a little bit more time in prayer. Maybe it would change if you spent a little bit more time in the Word. Maybe it would change if you spent a little bit more time around God's people. Spend more time around your Heavenly Father, and I bet your language is going to change. And while we're